Hey guys, welcome to another episode of CryptoSparta podcast. It's a lot of stuff to talk about, and not
Mostly
necessarily in
bad.
a good
Yeah,
way.
not necessarily good. It's been a pretty hectic week, similar to, I don't know, maybe the last time we felt this was maybe when time was, or no, Luna was crashing. So that often or that soon. And then probably where we have another like Twitter panic, like steep drop, 20% ETH drop, and then like within the last like 12 hours. And so ETH has like gone to a new low where it was basically probably the past month. It was ranging around like 1700. People were joking like it's pegged to 1700 now. But then this, we'll talk about it. Then this crash basically dropped from 1700. Now it's at like 1200, hover, or it dipped back to 1100 last night. And Bitcoin too was at like 27, 28, 30, almost 30, and then it just dipped to 21,000. And like there's a bunch of different factors. Obviously, you know that we're in a recession right now, bear market.
This is like the macro part of the schedule. There's going to be some rate hikes, it appears.
Yeah, the FOMC, which is like that financial institution that decides the rates or inflation, how they control the flow of our economy. And they're expecting like a very high a rate hike of like 0.75 basis points, which is like really that's a lot in layman terms if you don't know what that means. But
well, also last week the CPI came out at 8.6. It was projected per 8.3.
And then
I think anytime that they go over
shrinkflation, which I didn't even know.
No, and demand destruction.
They make the portion size smaller, so your bag of chips is like 2 ounces less, but they cost like 25 cents more. So like that's happening. Cost of goods, like it's hard out there. I think my mom was like, and she's like been through the Vietnam War and was a refugee, and like knows, and she's like, you gotta treat this as wartime right now.
Yeah.
So it's like you're saving every penny, like not a lot of spending going on. But I mean, it doesn't seem like the world has changed that much, especially with COVID dwindling down, and people are outside more. But just things are shit more expensive.
Some of the things that are factoring in are the fact that China has shut down, and I've heard that there's like, I think that while we don't feel it, and not to be like some wokester, but it's like we're a bit privileged where there are parts of the world that feel it. And
we're also in our parents' basements.
Yeah. That's true as well. Classic crypto guys.
Yeah.
Shout out. But the thing about it is that it appears that the worst, and I think that Brian and I, and like I said, not financial advice, not legal advice, we have been on not necessarily a roll, and we've had like bad calls, but I think like sometimes like
it pays to be on Twitter.
Yes.
And scroll.
Just be like a week ahead, or like, and then I think it was even, which is ironic, I think it was Suzu who was like on Up Only, where it's like, you need to figure out where you are on the human centipede of information.
Or no, the bell curve. That's actually helped me out.
Not the bell curve, but
the bell curve of like, giga brain, smooth brain, and then like the average American. That like meme where it's like you have to.
But I mean, this is
self-realization.
Like, do we just go like straight to Three Arrows Capitals and Giga Brains getting wrecked, or? No, I mean, I think we talk a little bit about we talk a little bit more about the macro. But like hearing about things a little early, where we had heard about Celsius a little early and thought about it, and you hear the rumors, and then
still did nothing about it.
Yeah, but like at least a little bit ahead of time. But some people really know, or some people knew the whole time when certain things happen, that things become insolvent, and now people are, as they say, hunting the liquidations, like
sweeping the floor.
If like Celsius was like at a certain lower level, like I think sometimes we have to take a pause, and Brian and I have been talking about it where I'd say we can like say this in a crisp, concise way both together. The CryptoSparta podcast aims to do several things. Inform people about basic things, and so we'll try to explain some of the things for those of the people that can't follow along. And we end up now with clips, and we have a larger audience, and we would love to engage with people that are watching or seeing our clips on whatever format. Instagram, if you have any questions, the like and subscribe, but also the interaction, or particularly like how we could improve or teach more, or if we're losing people. But sometimes we're just also bringing what happened on Twitter and then seeing what we think about it, and then thinking about what people say. And then they were warning about what Celsius was going to happen.
Well, part of
what would you say though that like the podcast aims to do? Or like at the end of the day, I like hanging out with Brian each week, chilling, having a couple brewskis, some nice food, and just bullshitting about.
So I think the part of crypto which makes it different than any other like money earning kind of sector, or like, different than, the economy or stocks, is that it's part of a culture. It's kind of like, pop culture, like music in, in an economic sense.
Bieber just bought a Bored Ape. Like, oh, did you hear what happened last week in crypto? And it's like every week, every couple of days.
It's a combination of of like finance and then like social, like engineering, or like
and like technology and the future of like human interactions. I mean,
exactly.
The thing is, I think crypto isn't going to go away in long term. Like, I don't think I'm going to leave.
And they say like, Web 3.0, where it's like, the transfer of information is how it's no longer in textbooks or like, getting a college degree. You can learn a lot off the internet, and social media is just a microcosm of that, in a smaller environment where things go faster.
And you say that though, and I completely disagree, because Twitter can be someone's life. Reddit can be someone's life. There are people that make their living off of Instagram and social media.
It makes years look smaller. Like, where it's like you're spending a lot of time consuming a lot of information, and you're absorbing years of information, and that one day is very consuming. Like daily, every day, you're trying to consume everything there is to know in crypto, and none of us are able to do it by ourselves. It's not like and one person can't just go to the library and just read every single book on penguins, and they need to like talk to experts and share information. Like, that's why they say like think tanks, and like why Facebook designs their offices, or Silicon Valley designs the office, is because it's it's all about the sharing of ideas, and making things that are creative, or like that's how you spark innovation.
I think that this is like coming to a cool point where we can be like, and also anybody can be someone that gives out knowledge and content. And I have a company that works on creating content for other companies. This goes down a real weird rabbit hole of what is it you're reading, what is it that people are intending to do, how is it being portrayed on the algorithms. People can spend their whole day on these social media apps that do completely different things to your brain. And if you're in a certain social circle, you're listening to, like NBA. Brian likes the NBA. There's a lot of other communities. I was into the Yang Gang. There's like Black Twitter, gay Twitter, crypto Twitter,
NBA Twitter,
Saudi Arabia Twitter. That can be your whole life. You can be a stay-at-home mom with, oh my gosh, cat Twitter or cat Instagram, just cat internet. Yeah. Animal internet. It doesn't like that's huge. That's bigger than But I think that one of the things is like, we're going to try to bring to you guys like, and we make a point of, I want to touch on NFTs each week, and we always touch on the market and where it stands, and kind of
trying to keep you informed.
And then if it starts at market of crypto, but you zoom out, yes, the market in crypto has gone horribly for the last couple days. And then this is after already giant dips. And this is already after so much. But I mean, the greater world is also, there are shortages, like there were onion shortages. There's like certain things that just aren't around, like the world. And what people were saying, that Brian and I were saying, we saw on Twitter, it still could get worse. And you're seeing giant funds getting liquidated.
Yeah, like I was
I think
watching.
let's go to Celsius and Three Arrows Capital, because
Yeah, let's go. Yeah,
let's get into like what really happened this week. I'm gonna
sorry to get back our off topic, but now we're back to like the main reason. So a week ago or so, ETH 2.0 testnet, they deployed on testnet, and that was really successful. It was really funny with the YouTube live stream.
Was Vitalik there?
Yeah, it was a Vitalik, and
I didn't
like
watch
people were like singing songs and like all that shit, and it was like kind of a funny type of ordeal on the live stream. So that was a successful deployment, but then they have a delay with the difficulty bomb, which is how they just to motivate proof of work to proof of stake, they're increasing the difficulty for miners in order to transition them from proof of work to proof of stake, to de-incentivize them to like continue their mining using their rigs. And so that there's a delay in that, and that kind of triggered a sell-off. And then the Celsius happened, where it figured out they were just over leveraged. Or a bunch of people wanted, and then the stake ETH on Lido depegged a little bit, and people got scared. And the thing was, is Celsius was not liquid. They could not refund or if people wanted out, they didn't have the ETH available to support that transaction.
Many such cases. So
they overextended themselves.
I think we kind of need to explain ourselves a little bit, though, because I think that like what happens is that basically in business terms, people took other people's money,
yeah,
and then did shady investments.
Yeah, exactly. They
really did like shady things,
degen with other people's money in order to give them the yield that they advertised. So an example of this would be so for the merge, they're allowing people to stake their ETH, regular ETH, and then they'll get a 5.35 percentage, or maybe 4, maybe less, like 3 to 4. And then the thing called Lido is able, so that's locked if it's just staked. Lido is allowing you to transfer your locked ETH into staked ETH to earn a greater yield of like 5.35%. And so, but that allows you to use your staked ETH, to collateralize it and take out loans. And then, in order to increase that from, I think Celsius was offering 7% or 8%, they had to collateralize that stake ETH in order to increase the yield and of their own platform. So to raise that 2% basis point. But the thing is that if you choose to stake, there's a locking period of 1.5 years after the merge. So the merge hasn't even happened yet. So they were banking on,
you've collateralized staked ETH, and then you're locked in at certain levels that are tied to Ethereum where you cannot escape. And then you need to bring collateral from other places, such as your investors' deposits that are in liquid assets until you're insolvent. If you have too much of it staked, it increases your risk level. And what really happened is that their risk tolerances, they're like,
doing this on Maker.
At the end of the day, who cares how smart they are? I mean, you want to do the Che Guavablan thing, and then Che, if you don't know, is Fu the Panda's alt.
Yeah.
Che the Govoblin.
Well, it's better to have risen.
Nah, you have it. Yeah, just because I think some of the stuff that we can tell people about, and I was talking to people in India about how there is a culture of Twitter and crypto Twitter, and Brian and I keep sending back and forth a lot of tweets that then it's kind of like there's a certain, and then it's strange because we touch on NFT Twitter as well. It's a very different algorithm for different people, but we're somewhat on the same wavelength of if you follow Fu the Panda, if you follow Suzu or Kobe, if you follow the famous crypto Twitter influencers, if you see what we got to talk about what Loomdart did.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're watching, yeah, Hisaka, Crypto Kaleo, Crypto Dog, like certain people that are just very famous, and then they're going to be referencing things because they're going to be on Twitter every day. And then you can start to put the pieces together because there's a lot of rumors about 3 Arrows Capital, Celsius pausing withdrawals. This is a run on banks, and like apparently there are run on banks happening in China as well. There's also like, I guess, like a lot of money tied up into, it could be like a virus or a contagion where a lot of things are defaulting. There's a lot of central banks. We didn't talk about this in the macro segment. The Central Bank of Japan is having very serious problems. And so on the macro scale, like certain places hurt. Luna hit Korea really hard. And Do Kwon might be going to jail.
Well,
and some of the stuff that's come out,
his head, like he's getting, I think he got arrested or he got served something by the South Korea government. And yeah, so the Celsius thing is triggered too because they loaned a lot of BTC on Maker, and so their liquidation. Some people are Celsius. So about their liquidations.
No.
So people were tracking their wallets. So people knew that they were so they were illiquid on their ETH. So they wanted to like track their wallets to see if they're actually insolvent or if it's rumors. And so like people like Larry Cernak tracked all their wallets, and they're not totally insolvent. They have $12 billion dollars worth of funds that they control for like 1.2 million customers, me included. I was a customer of Celsius.
I used to be. I took it out.
Yeah, I had 300.
But I was pretty happy, and it was like everywhere else. And now you go through this stuff and you start to get suspicious. It was the best one of all of them.
Safe.
You can do some on Coinbase or Gemini, but it was like always a couple percentage points better.
Yeah, it was like it was determined to be the safe because the other people were offering like 13%, and then Celsius was the safer option, only offering 8%. So 8% is better than the zero you're earning in your bank account. And so that was their advertising, and they raised a lot of money. Like in their series, whatever funding, they raised like close to $1 billion, $864 million. And so, and then they also had a pension fund from the Canadian.
Apparently, like 20% of a major Canadian
pension fund, or whatever.
It was like government employees, and like that could have included like.
So 400, they like 400 of that was of that pension fund. And so they were considered, legitimate, and like everyone was pretty fooled. Like, they're registered with, NASDAQ, whatever, SEC. When you register, you have to KYC yourself. I provided my social security number. And then, so you have to, so they were like considered safe. But in the background, it realized like they're just being degens with other people's money, like a glorified hedge fund. And they were building stuff too. It's very similar to like a Coinbase where it's like you can swap. They're gaining all these features. It wasn't just a treasury asset management or, somewhere to place your funds, but they were gaining functions, like transferring functions, swapping functions, and like they actually like had to like eliminate their yield unless you're making. We talked about this on our podcast where it's like, uh, unless you make 500,000, you can earn yield on your coins now. And so,
I mean, they've apparently lowered the level for invested creditor
but
status.
that was before, right? That's what when
Yeah.
we talked about. So you had to be an accredited
Well, it
investor.
was all getting kind of shady when that stuff was happening, and yeah, we kind of called it because we were talking about how it was shady. Like same thing with Luna, like, and it's just from Twitter. It
Well,
wasn't even us. It's just like, oh, it's not even me sniffing this out.
I
There's just
think
certain people calling into question
I
stuff.
got to give props to Pintoshi though. Like he
Yeah.
was the really one who was like I mean, sometimes it feels like when you're on Twitter and you're not getting engagement is that you're just screaming into like an empty room.
But some
Where it's
people
like he
listen.
was actually like very passionate and serious about it. And like even I'll share an anecdote where it's like he announced like 5 days before it happened where he was like, get your funds off Celsius. I don't even have funds in Celsius, but things are very, very sketchy with the stake ETH situations. And so, yeah, and then he's like, get out. And then I was in the process of doing that. And then, but the thing with Celsius is that you have to whitelist your address. You have to wait 24 hours. So it makes you wait another day. Luckily, nothing happened. But by the time it would happen, this was like 5 o'clock the Monday, and Celsius crashed. Like they sent out the memo at 9:30 p.m. on Monday, and so they ended up. So I my whitelist was cleared, and then I just like didn't do it. I just procrastinated. I was like, oh, I just have Link in my wallet. I don't have ETH. The problem is ETH, not Link. But then they froze everything. So, you know,
Dude, I'm just gonna take one step away for a second, but just explain to like people that was like the story, but like Celsius is a person that takes custody of your coins and gives you returns. And then behind the scenes,
I
they
know
are
they have
not
their own
audited.
token, but I no,
And they had
they
their own,
were audited though.
but I mean, at the end of the day,
They were
and then
audited.
who was it? Like, there was like the joke that went around, and yeah, I mean, so their CEO is named Nuke.
Co-founder Nuke
Co
Goldstein.
and people are like, his name was Nuke. Like, come on, like,
That should have
the
been a
signals,
word.
yeah. I mean, it's a joke, and no offense to that guy, and he's probably like under,
Really
but
smart.
I mean, at the end of the, no, I was about to say under a lot of pressure, and people say really smart, and it bothers me where, and we can maybe shift to the like 3AC in a little bit, but oh, you're really smart, like that doesn't mean you can. It's almost worse because it's like you're given the power to make catastrophic mistakes, and you can be really smart and make worse mistakes. Like,
Compound them.
common sense isn't common. There's smart people doing really dumb things, and it's like
That's why they
gambling
say like
addiction.
book
Yeah.
smart and street smart. You can
Hey,
either
wait, so
be
where does the yield come from? Wait, so who's the sucker on the other side of
yeah,
this? Like,
you gotta ask
when's the new
yourself.
money come in and when should I get out? And it's just like,
Yeah.
I mean, that said, I'm in it for the tech, but no, I'm just gonna step away for 1 second. But the I want Brian to explain kind of like what Celsius is and like was, because it's like this company may have, if liquidated at certain levels, have taken
This is
millions in
probably
investment. This is like a professional company that
yeah,
had legal investment.
base in US too.
Yeah,
So
I'll be right back.
so that's the thing with what makes kind of Celsius different or affects us more in the States is that it it's based in the US. Luna is based in Korea or like, they're based on Korea, but Celsius is based in the US. And so this is like kind of your first US situation of crypto dealing with regulation, kind of how regulation is somewhat important. You can't just have the wild, wild west out there. Um, and they could be made an example of, like by, the US government could like, and that can be detrimental to us regular holders because there could be potential harsher ramifications trying to like set an example. But just shout out to John Woo Aztec. He wrote a really great thread summarizing this, and I think he actually like was on Cointelegraph, and they asked him to do a segment. But I'm just gonna summarize some of that. And he really summarized what Celsius is. It's a do-it-all fintech app. Um, you know, give consumers easy, similar to Coinbase, like easy interface, trusted access to crypto services like high yield deposits, crypto backed lending, similar to what we talk about like Urzdal, trading, similar to Coinbase. And it's supposed to be like a do it all type of thing, custodial asset manager. That's, ETF kind of thing. Vanguard, Fidelity, their basket of stocks. Celsius is kind of like a Vanguard, but decentralized finance opportunities. So you basically like you deposit your funds into their system, you get high yield than you would, a bank account or other crypto services, and you get a yield. While in order to produce that yield, they're doing other stuff with your money, similar to like a Wonderland, going in all these DeFi protocols. And so it's not direct exposure to like yield farming or liquidity pairs of like FTM, but it's a way to get access to those. So like basically a glorified, hedge fund with a token. And so
That was like the same basically as like what I
it's
felt
basically a
when
loyalty
I heard
rewards.
when I heard Bitcoin was being used as a reserve for Terra, and they also had, Terra backing their stable coin, and then that stable coin was giving out yields. I was just like, what? But I think now we got our guest that's like, our last week filled in, and we can make it like a weekly segment type thing. We're gonna,
Our
yeah.
first caller.
But no, I mean, Aubrey filled in for you actually pretty well
Yeah.
last week. Did you see that, Brian?
I did see clips that was posted. Check out our Instagram.
Yeah.
Follow, like, and subscribe.
Aubrey, you need to get one of the shirts. We need to be squatted. But no, Aubrey, what did you think about the Celsius and 3AC stuff?
We kind of saw it coming. I actually pulled all of my altcoins out apart from ETH a while ago.
I think it's hard to see it coming though. It's like whether you trust the people on Twitter.
Well,
like all of it.
I heard those
rumors at the end of the day.
Those rumors, they were insolvent, and then you start hearing Coinbase, blah blah blah, and it's like get your stuff on a hardware wallet. And at that point, I was trying to sell pretty much anything that wasn't Bitcoin and ETH, and then just DCA those. And then literally last week, I finally got my ETH out, and it makes me angry because you have to whitelist your addresses.
Yeah, it delays it. You can't do it. You can't do it instantaneously. That's why I was procrastinating.
So shady that
24 hours. I know it makes sense that you whitelist your address to like confirm that's a legit address, but
yeah, but like the 24-hour lock period, like when you're trying to, I don't know, when people are trying to panic pull it when they get that
there's some kind of social engineering. They know that like the longer you delay it, they won't do it.
Last week Dan and I were talking about, the staked ETH issue, and there's going to be liquidity problems, and it's just better to be safe than sorry at this point. I mean, a lot of people are really sorry, regardless of whether or not they're in Celsius.
Yeah, no. Suicide hotline. Actually, like, we try to keep it lighthearted. This is gallows humor. Like, crypto has been a losing gamble, but like crypto for us is more than just like, I think, sorry to interrupt, but it was like, I brought this out, and If anybody out there wants a shirt, I'll just give it to them if they actually will wear it, because my friends at my MBA reunion had seen it, and it's like cool to see stuff. And if people are out there watching, like, I just know Smithy. But I guess people watch the clips. But what I wanted to get at was kind of like, I mean, for the CryptoSparta pod and for like Aubrey being on and Brian being on, like, we just like to be a part of it, and the Twitter being there, but like on the money side, like everybody's hurting.
Well,
But
to
just
make
because we're
matters
smiling
worse-
and talking and chit chatting, and like really there's like serious pain out there, and it's like the point where I just wanted to get across that if you have like problems, like, and like seriously, we had said before, not financial advice, not legal advice, only risk what you can lose. And there are people losing their houses, there are people losing their skin. I heard this story about this one woman on Twitter. It was really messed up. And personally, I'm actually, you know, dumb about not exactly, I mean, everybody's confused about taxes. This woman had her Luna and UST pool where she made a ton of money, and then she stabled it into UST off of Luna, and then the Luna crashed, and she owed a huge tax bill for moving her Lunas to stables that then were worth nothing, and she had to sell her house and declare bankruptcy. I mean,
you
I
think
don't know how
this-
taxes work well enough to really, but I do understand to a certain extent. But if you're making trades that are too large and you're not taking profits to set aside for the taxes on
yeah,
those
you have to
capital
account
gains,
for the tax. You
I
can't
don't do it. I'm just being honest. I
just
just
spend
don't do it.
all of it. You gotta
And that might
save some.
reveal how much I'm investing or making or losing, or how clueless I am, which is good.
But
Because the people out there had made so much money on paper and moved it around that they literally didn't understand the taxes they were incurring.
I mean, the tax forms are kind of dumb too, because I was filling out my taxes for 2021 because I followed the extension. And then, like, all they have is like a box that says, did you trade crypto or not? They don't ask for any documents or any, like, honestly, if you, like, I know people on Twitter are like, were vigilant and like, oh, I'm sending them, you know, supporting documents of all my trades. You know, you could literally just fill in numbers and, you know, this is, and then say that this plus this or this minus this equals my short-term loss.
And I mean, I got to shill a project that we have, because I have cryptolegal.com, and we're trying to build it up. Even I'm not an expert or understand, but we're kind of looking to build a community and a pool of knowledge. But one of the legal things that I think Aubrey had mentioned, it was something like what I had talked about a long time back, which was synthetics. But I think you were talking about how it was a scam on Luna. Synthetics was
Luna
supposed to be
chain sucks.
synthetic stocks. And then how are you trading stocks pre and post market on a macro level, and then making sure that it's safe? And I think Aubrey said that there was some sort of project that it was like, you can get like, and then synthetics was like, you get SYN Tesla, or you get like synthetic Microsoft, and you can trade it 24/7. But it's like, but do you guys actually have those stocks? Are you guys actually exposed to the real stock market, or are you just making up derivatives on a crypto exchange? I don't know, Aubrey, what was that one though that was talking about, like, where you can like trade stocks on Luna?
Well, you know, there's a lot of negative press about Do Kwon right now, and I'm not sure if it's totally confirmed or not, but it's presumed Mirror Protocol was designed to rip off retail investors. And like, if you ever used Mirror Protocol, it was super weird, like seeing M Facebook and Tesla, and then I think there's also, you know, other altcoins on it. But yeah, it was to mirror the stock market, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the intention, to rip off the retail investors, like to understand the inner workings of synthetic crypto stocks. and earning returns and possibly staking rewards.
I mean, do you think it's almost like it almost feels like it should be criminal that they're offering derivatives and assets on things they don't own. And
Right.
the sketchy thing is there was somebody on Twitter who had mentioned it. They seemed like an insider when they were talking about Tether crashing. And it's like, then there was someone saying there's a reason that there's thousands of pages on banking regulations.
Yeah. And that makes me wonder about Suzu and Three Arrows, given that.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
wild.
what did
There's
you
like
think?
rumors that so the story is that because of the Celsius dip, and the thing about Celsius that I forgot to mention,
They have a
is that-
coin.
well, no,
The
that
Loom Dart.
no,
No, we got to cover the Loom Dart thing.
Well,
Their coin was
that's
up like
not what I was
600%.
talking about, but after this, but so they had positions on long Bitcoin on over leverage, and people started selling Bitcoin, or because of the market was tanking ETH, people started selling Bitcoin, and that drove the Bitcoin price down to Celsius's liquidation price, and so they kept on having to add more money to lower the liquidation price. So I think at the beginning, and that screwed over a lot of people, like who were levered up or were on leverage. And so
Suzu, that goes back to the Terra collapse. They actually started dumping their staked ETH, and at the same time, he was tweeting like bullish things about it. So it's just really sketchy that in the background they're dumping. They actually dumped more than Celsius did, which I think a lot of people don't know.
As far as BTC, and then they
staked ETH. They dumped more than.
No, and it's like kind of weird where the emperor has no clothes, where the people that pumped ETH up were over collateralized under collateralized leverage people that, yeah, they had a lot and they're playing the big markets. But I mean, do you think at the end of the day it's Sam Bankman-Fried?
Well, there was those transfers. There were Celsius moving transfers onto FTX.
Do you think that
short?
Do you think that FTX was the one behind all the shorts and all the dumping?
Could be.
And do you think that they've been
Alameda
hunting?
is like they're like, so it's like
San Trabuco, yeah.
So they have a light and dark. So like FTX is like their light, and Alameda Research is like their dark. All the nerds like take over, and so they trigger things. So Alameda is like the bottom feeder that can just like eat up all the food from the bottom.
They're legit. They are market makers, but they also trade, and then they're better traders.
And they're so big that they can manipulate the market by themselves. Like they're a one-man puppet show. Like Alameda is like, there's that joke on Twitter where it's like, oh, who shorted this? Alameda is like,
and it's always who
do they want to liquidate?
It's Sam Bankman-Fried, and he's just like a chubby, goofy, curly-haired dude.
High-pitched voice.
You hate to see it, but that's peak performance right there.
Yeah, peak performance.
It's just a peak performance.
I love the meme where he's like very concentrated on his computer, but is like League of Legends, like WF right spelled too.
I'm just playing League with what is it? CL, the cat that's in the spacesuit. Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy. So like 3AC got kind of. They're the whales that got caught in the wave, like by bigger whales, and they kind of messed up. And now there's rumors that they're illiquid or insolvent. Just like we didn't touch on this too. A lot of VCs are going bankrupt, or like rescinding job offers. Coinbase is, and then like these VCs are closing because they messed up on deals in the bull market and they thought they could just recover.
Up only, no big deal.
But now it's actual bear market and they're getting fucked. They're getting screwed over by the mistakes that they made. And it was funny because one of the down Badleys or the Up Only podcast in the bear market. Like Jim Talbot, he was on like 2 weeks ago, or not this last one, but the one previously. And he's like, VCs are actually dumb, like because all they know is the bull market for the past 2 years, and they are like just throwing money at things because like one of them are gonna hit, and then they get to a bear market and they actually have to be smart with their money. They can't just throw money around. So the VCs who you think are smart are actually just like the rest of us. No one knows what they're doing. Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, but I mean, let's move to NFTs. Let's do an NFT segment, and then we're trying to like figure timing, and also we get it's Tuesday. I was traveling, so it's the US soccer game tonight. And so we got 8 minutes to close it out, but I wanted to cover NFTs and then do our shills. And I think that like the shills might be a little short this week since feeling a little uncomfortable talking about you should get this or I like that crypto. I don't know.
When we're at bear market.
But the shills are not contained to crypto. And I mean, I don't think we've ever shilled a short, and I don't think we're ever shorted, but like,
no,
yeah,
we're not smart enough to short. We're not smart. I don't even know how to short.
We're long-term investors.
I choose not to short.
I believe you can do it legally on Binance. So, and this is not legal advice, and I really need to know this stuff, you know, if we're going to be doing crypto legal, but let's talk about NFTs real quick and then do the shows.
Yeah, so.
But Aubrey, you start off because Brian's got to get his laptop charger.
On NFTs?
Yeah, I was thinking talking about Goblin Town a bit, and then you can even talk about Swaggertooth and Smartifact if you want. Just give us 1 sec.
Yeah.
About to die.
Okay, just do it fast.
Yeah, so I mean, the only stuff I wanted to cover about NFTs was basically like Goblin Town doxed, and it was like successful. And one of the things that it was showing to a lot of people was that there were people that had already been into other projects and were kind of deep into crypto that wanted to work together on a project. And
doxing's usually a good thing.
It is, and I think it's kind of like representative of what we're looking to do for our NFT project, where it's a bad time to be announcing and like discussing and growing. But if you want to learn about Smartifact Labs and Swaggertooth, hit us up. But let's just jump to the shills because I don't want the computer to die.
We're on a budget. This is the true bear market.
Although we're trying to improve our studio quality. So happy to take any donations if you want to help out on the studio budget. I would say I'll just like rattle off my show, and I think that it's like really corny, but just learn like like bullish on just like knowledge and learning, and like I think that that's just like a lesson where it's like just you don't got to do anything, don't play with your money, just learn
about the market so you can get ready for this next bull.
Bullish on knowledge.
Yeah. So with this bear market, I'm just bullish on I'm showing cash. Like
cash.
This 10% loss is better than
put it in the wall, put it under the mattress, put it in the ceiling. Yeah.
Luxury goods, like just cash, even though we're losing 10%. It's better than losing 50% or like lesser two evils, basically.
Well, this is like a thing that I'll say then. This is bullish on Smartifact Labs and Swaggertooth is like luxury goods, physical items that you can touch. Put them in the metaverse with Swaggertooth or with Smartifact Labs, where I mean, the digital and physical realms are, digital is growing and growing. Bitcoin wasn't worth as much a way long time ago, but now there is this crossover. There are still physical items that are good. Stocks, businesses,
Stock's not good right now.
venture capital, investment firms, sovereign funds. Like, yeah, I mean, Brian can say cash, but like, maybe tradable coins, maybe some silver or gold, but those are also manipulated. There was one tweet that I saw where it was like, can't do altcoins, they're dead. Bitcoin is manipulated. Stocks are dead. Cash is losing money. Can't even get a job, like lost the job. Like there's like nothing to be done for some people. And so there was this one guy on Twitter who also said, he was like, the best investment is actually buying stuff in bulk. And so just a lot of cans of tuna. But Aubrey, what's your show?
Yeah. I mean, these are tough times, but if you're, fortunate enough to have the ability to take on some risk, I would say, go for it. This is where, the money is made. This is the windows where people become, where dreams are made, not to be.
Buy the dip, 100x leverage.
Well, speaking of dip, decentralized yield protocol, they're apparently offering 25% on ETH and BNB, which I find hard to believe. So that's kind of like an anti-shill given Anchor protocol, and especially in these times. But I would say despite the macro situation, you got to look at crypto as the next wave. It's technology, and I'm confident it's here to stay. It's the revolution, and in terms of fundamentals for your favorite projects, like nothing's really changed. That being said, I think there's going to be a lot of falling knives. So yeah, it's really hard to shill right now. So I've just been anti-shilling DYP, and then Bitgert, because everyone's hyped about they announced their P2 roadmap, and like whales have been accumulating. It was kind of like the hot trending altcoin like a week ago, because it has 0 transaction fees and it's the fastest. But they're launching an Oracle centralized exchange and an NFT, and like NFTs for 0 gas fees. But besides that, they're called Bitgert. So I'm going to anti-shill them.
I think the scaling solutions. I was reading on Cointelegraph about things that are going to be solving scaling solutions. I think that the L1s, the L2s are going to be outdated in a couple years. I think it's scary that every single coin could get wiped out by better technology tomorrow when someone figures out how to actually do that stuff without being too centralized or without being corrupt. It seems that you never can trust anybody, and you never know who's controlling the coins behind any project. But Gabe just came through, the homie Gabe, and friend of the podcast. He's just saying Chainlink in the background. But we're just gonna say thanks for another CryptoSparta podcast. Thanks Smithy for watching. But everybody else who's out there watching, hit us up with some questions. And thanks again.
Subscribe, like, follow.